Are you a fan of horror movies?
Necronomicon Ex Mortis, the Book of the Dead.
What about cult classics?
Your move, creep.
If you are, you'll love Shocking Things. Please search for us on all the major podcasting platforms. To see our social media and a direct link to our podcast, please go to anchor.fm/shockingthings.
Hey everybody, this is Rick from the PWZ podcast. Joining me today is the DVD Freak. How you been, sir? It's been a while since you've been over here.
Yeah, what's going on? Been a while.
Chilling. Well, yeah, it is. And I'm glad to have you back. We need to do this a little bit more often. Unfortunately, this circumstance is not the greatest. 8 more talents released from WWE, the largest, I don't want to say wrestling organization in the world, but I guess we should say entertainment, sports entertainment. And this one just brings a lot of sadness because some really good talent got released every single time, and it's been very surprising. A couple of these I'm not so... Actually, this round I don't think I'm really necessarily surprised for the most part. It's there's predictions last week when was it 18 cuts? Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, that was a large batch.
Yeah. So they were...
I think we're up to 79 so far.
No, I have a list here. There's been 82 releases.
Oh, is it 82 now?
Since the beginning of the year, since I think February. I have the entire list here.
Okay.
We'll go over that in the next few minutes, but I want to go to the current releases from last night. It's been revealed by Sean Ross Sapp and the other guy, Mike Johnson. Both wrote articles on their respective websites. Tegan Knox, Drake Maverick has been released for a second time. John Morrison, Jackson Riker. That one I'm not necessarily surprised about. I think that was just a matter of time. Shane Thorne, another one I'm not necessarily surprised about. The rest of Hit Row that were let go. They were just brought up. Yeah, the rest of them. I mean, there was, 3 members altogether?
Yeah,
so 4 members.
It's just pretty bad that one was let go and then they have to just let go of the rest.
Well, it was like 2 weeks later, the rest of them, they were all just brought up. I mean, I'm kind of, surprised that Swerve Scott was released because I thought he was going to be a huge star there. He did really well in NXT. Years ago when I saw him in MLW, he was just awesome. So, you got any comments to make about these?
I mean, this batch, John Morrison, I think that was honestly the most surprising. Not because he's a big talent or anything. It's just because I forgot he was actually there. I was like, oh yeah, he is still there. Well, not anymore now. But yeah, like he's I don't know. Is he been obsolete? He's just been hanging around the Miz lately, hasn't he?
Since he's returned, that's pretty much they reformed the group that they were, and it's just basically just been a running comedy act for the last year? Has he been back over a year? Has it been that long?
I think it was earlier. I think it's almost a year earlier this year. I think it was January or February.
So it's really not that long. That's pretty insane to think about. Of course, 2 weeks ago, his wife, Frankie Monet, was released. Taya Valkyrie. She had some comments on Twitter to make about this. I have them right here. A good reporter. So, basically, let me see here. It says, stop supporting a company that has zero respect for their talent. You love pro wrestling to spend your money on the hundreds of alternatives. This is wrong ethically. As employers, they don't care about as talent or fans. And I believe there was another tweet that I don't have here that it said F them. So it's about right. I can see Taya Valkyrie going back to Impact at some point. Possibly Johnny Impact returning.
Yeah, I could definitely see him going to Impact, and that opens the door for AEW for him. So, yeah, that's not the last we'll see him. Drake Maverick, I'm sure, Rockstar Spud gimmick, he could go back to that and Impact. That's another one I forgot was still around, and that was basically a pity for the last time. So
Yeah, he's been lingering around NXT, and now that there's the NXT shit show 2.0, a lot of the guys that they had in there prior just don't fit in. It's sad to say. And it's gotten worse. I can't tell whether NXT or Raw is the worst show at this point.
I don't know. I don't watch either of them.
Yeah. Good. So since February, there's been 82 releases. I have the entire list here. Some have been voluntary as well. Lars Sullivan was, let go in February. I think it was actually unannounced, but it was reported afterwards. Obviously, Paul White, the Big Show, his contract expired. He opted not to renew. Steve Cutler in February. Andrade, March 21st. April 15th is when we had a mass firing. Samoa Joe, but he was later rehired for NXT. Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, Mickey James, Chelsea Green, Kalisto, Wesley Blake, Bo Dallas, and Tucker. That was all the April 15th firings. And May 19th, we had another somewhat large group. Alexander Wolf, the Velveteen Dream, that one was kind of deserving. He'd been kind of a disaster since the stories came out about him and just was never to be able to regain. Vanessa Bourne, Kavita Devi, Ezra Judge, referee Jake Clemens, Skylar something. I think I put the name in there wrong. Sorry. Jasmine Duke and ref Drake Wirtz. I think that was a lot of political reasons. He had just been kind of a disaster with his political thoughts and rants and stuff like that. Of course, June 2nd, that's when it took a huge turn, and they let go some really big talents and surprising talents. Braun Strowman, Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy, Lana, Ruby Riott, Santana Garrett. Since then, Aleister Black and Ruby Riott have resurfaced in AEW. Sorry, I fizzed out there. It's only a matter of time. I think Buddy Murphy's supposed to be going to Impact. I don't know if he's actually appeared there yet. It's really hard for me to tolerate watching Impact sometimes. So, June 25th, Killian Dane, Tyler Breeze, Fandango, Tony Nese. Tony Nese has been popping up in AEW in the crowd watching the TNT Championship matches. So I think it's a matter of time. I think he's actually signed there. It hasn't necessarily been revealed, but he has worked a match on Dark. All right, so also on that date was Arya Davari, Everrise, the Bollywood Boys, Kurt Stallion, August Gray, who's also made an appearance in AEW, Arturo Ruiz, Tino Sabatelli, Marina Shafir. Some of these names were not doing much at that time. Of course, June 31st is probably the biggest release. Bray Wyatt. Still, I think it's just a couple weeks left on his contract on his no compete clause before he go ahead.
A lot's come out about that one. There's been a lot of rumors that he was very frustrated and very vocal with creative, and it got to the point where him and Vince had problems personally. Who knows what's true and what's not. Obviously, only he can come out and tell his side of the story one day, which that'll be very interesting. Because, he was very frustrated for a while. And, I mean, look at his last match, I believe was Randy Orton at WrestleMania, and that was just embarrassing. Yeah.
Literally, they weren't. I mean, he was frustrated with creative, I think, which I could completely understand. I think that sometimes this company needs to go ahead and reevaluate the creative team as opposed to reevaluating some of this talent, because some of these people that have been let go, I think, could be very useful in, on the shows. Instead, we get the same 12 guys over and over on Raw or SmackDown. If there is even a dozen. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. It's more like 8 guys. It's like the same 4 matches every week. They just but yeah, they said that he was difficult to work with. I would go with that, who knows what's true, like you said, but he also could have just been very frustrated with them, and that's why he was ended up being difficult to work with.
I would definitely say that's probably it. I would react very much the same way.
July 31st was, no, I'm sorry, I just said that one. August 3rd, was the Nature Boy Ric Flair, who basically asked for his release and was granted. I think it was that before the Dark Side of the Ring, or was that after?
That was before, I believe.
Okay. I was going to say, because obviously things have changed for him. Now I'm reading articles that they're holding some of his championship belts and they refuse to give them back to him. I think that Hunter actually, from what I've heard, has his original 10 pounds of gold sitting in his office that belongs to Ric Flair. So,
what I would do for that?
I mean, I have a fake one behind me. So,
there you go.
August 6th. See, we're only to August, and it's November right now, so we still got a little while to go. August 6th. This is another group of people. This was mostly a lot of NXT people. Bobby Fish, Bronson Reed, Jake Atlas, Leon Ruff, a referee, Stephen Smith. This one I'm very surprised at. Mercedes Martinez worked around. I mean, she's from this area. I'm a huge fan. I've been watching her for many years. I'm just surprised she worked her ass off and for 20 something years to get to the big time. She gets there and she's only there for less than a year. It's pretty upsetting to think about. So Giant Sanzier, Ari Sterling, Kona Reeves, that one, Asher Hale, Tyler Rust, and it was a PC talent, Zacharias Smith, who I don't think ever made it out to, so there's Desmond Troy. And then November 4th, which was just that was last week, right? 2 weeks ago. That's when we had Eva Marie, Grand Metalik, Karrion Kross, Keith Lee, Lindsay Dorado, Mia Yim, Nia Jax, B-Fab, Ember Moon, Frankie Monet, Katrina Cortez, Oni Lorcan, Jesse Camilla, Jeet Rama, Zeta Ramir, Scarlett Bordeaux, Trey Baxter, Harry Smith. And then, of course, last night's we had that we mentioned at the top of the show. So that is 82 people that have been released since February of this year. That's an insane list. They can start a whole promotion off there.
Yeah, there was a few extra because I had 79. I forgot about Ric Flair. I think there was a few I forgot about. But
I don't know. Some people, I don't know how people want to look at some,
I mean, that counts, I guess. Yeah. I mean, what was he really doing? But
he's just floating around and making a TV appearance once every month or two.
Yeah, he'll just do a coin flip at a sports event and fart and go home. And this the last big batch, like the Keith Lee, the Ember Moon, those two really just pissed me off. Let's be honest.
Absolutely.
Ember Moon, I was always a fan of her. And then Keith Lee, I was never a big fan of his personality and his promo, but in the ring, he's fantastic. And, he could have worked on other things and really perfected himself. He didn't have a chance to perfect himself.
And since he arrived at the main roster, they just kept changing him every few months, it seems. And then, obviously, he was out for health reasons for a little bit. And then he comes back for maybe 2-3 weeks with a new name and all this stuff. And then they just let him go.
Bearcat.
Of course, Karrion Kross, Killer Kross. I'm sure he's going to end up somewhere. I have a prediction that some of these guys are definitely going to end up in AEW, especially probably Keith Lee and Killer Kross. I think they'd do really well there.
Oh yeah, I fully expect them there.
I just don't know what the hell they're doing. Everybody's they're just cleaning house, getting rid of everybody. It's upsetting to see because some of these people are now unemployed, and especially it's 2 weeks, a month. It's the holiday season. They're just firing these people.
I've said it before and I will say it again. They're prepping for a sale. And I called this months and months ago.
Yep.
And it's just they keep doing this. This isn't the spring cleaning anymore that they used to do. They usually did it right after WrestleMania. You know, cut some people. It was never really to save much money. But now it's just like budget cuts, budget cuts, budget cuts. And don't even get me started on the Saudi Arabia money, the Fox money, the Peacock money, all this money.
They're
I
claiming
think they're prepping for a sale.
they're claiming budget cuts, but they're having some of the most profitable times
Ever. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
the
they're
one,
catching.
that last one was right after an earnings call of like 252 or 250 some $million for that quarter in revenue.
Yeah, I might have that in my notes somewhere because I know we did a report on it last time it happened. I think it was just for that quarter, 252 midpoint something million or whatever, just for that quarter. Yeah, something similar to that. So yeah, that's just it's just three hands up. It's making me watch it less and less. And unfortunately, I'm going to be at 2 WWE shows this weekend. It's like, who the fuck's going to be there?
Yeah, you'll have fun with that one.
Yeah.
To be fair, Survivor Series was always my favorite WWE pay-per-view. I almost was going to go Sunday, but it's not going to work out. So.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that's going to be good. I'll probably have a good time either way. But SmackDown, I'm not really. There's really, I haven't watched SmackDown in a couple weeks, so I probably should catch up on last week's before tonight. I do really like what Roman's doing right now. I think it's fun. It's just very creative. So it's probably the best thing WWE's got going.
You think The Rock is going to appear on Sunday?
That's an interesting thing. Do you think so?
Yeah, maybe a 25% chance he does.
Oh, 25%. I don't know what the hell's going to happen on Sunday. I mean, at this point, they need something to gain interest in the fans. I guess they're not really necessarily interested because they got so much money coming in out the wazoo from merchandising and international deals. It doesn't matter anymore. Yeah. They can have Vince go out there and fart in the middle of the ring, and there's $1 billion right there. So
I'd actually pay to see that than half the shit they put on. Honestly, I really would.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
All right. Is there anything else you want to add to this before we jump out of here?
I mean, it's unfortunate that these firings and laying offs have been happening. Some will come back, I'm sure. Some already have. Samoa Joe's back. Maybe they'll give Drake Maverick a third chance just as a joke.
Well, did you see his video that he posted to Instagram?
Did he do another one? Because I saw the one he did last year.
No, this is a completely different one. Okay. Completely, it's not him. It starts off like you think it's going to go that way, but it goes a completely different. And then EC3 shared another picture of them together from whenever it was part of that free your narrative thing. So I would highly recommend, if anybody is listening, to go check out Drake Maverick's Instagram post. It's him. Basically, it seemed like he put this thing together really quickly because it was only announced, I don't know, it was probably released an hour or so after that. He put it edited, make it look really nice. He's talking to himself and trying to amp himself up in a way, and it's done in this really cool psychological thriller type cinematic thing. It's really cool. It's really, really cool. So I highly recommend anybody to go out there and check out his Instagram video. And I'm sure we're going to see the return of Rockstar Spud. I mean, who the hell knows? It's been an interesting year for professional wrestling. We're getting the bad news about Ring of Honor, and then all these firings. And I mean, what the hell's going to happen?
CM Punk and Bryan Danielson are in AEW. This has been a wild year. It really has.
It's been wild, and there's been a lot of garbage, but there's also been a lot of really great stuff as well. Yeah. So that's it. All right, guys. That's it. I'm all set with any information I have here. Go check us out. Like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. Go check out the DVD Freak. And I want to thank you for joining me in this little deal.
Yeah, DVD Freak on YouTube. That's about it. And yeah, I'll have to come back. It's been too long.
Should make this a regular thing again.